The night sky over Iran suddenly lit up. The lights and sounds indicated heavy American bombers entering the region. The bombing campaign was one of the most significant in history, and it has completely dismantled Iran's military and eliminated the threat. Here's some incredible unclassified footage of the Iranian Navy taking critical hits. Within minutes, explosions began rippling across multiple Iranian military zones. Their navy has been nearly completely obliterated by American and Israeli strikes, and it has resulted in an absolutely devastating outcome for them. This unclassified footage shows an example of just how significant the damage has been to the Iranian military. Did the United States just carry out one of the largest direct strikes on Iranian military infrastructure in years? Because if these videos tell us anything, it's that America is not messing around. This was a coordinated attempt to cripple key parts of Iran's military network, and it appears to have been very successful. U.S. long-range strategic bombers launched coordinated strikes against Iranian military infrastructure, targeting sites believed to be connected to missile programs, drone storage facilities, and regional supply hubs. These strikes reportedly focused on western Iranian territories, particularly areas connected to Iran's logistical corridors toward Iraq and Syria. Those regions are very important. They act as the main bridge between Iran's domestic military network and the proxy groups it supports throughout the Middle East, which means any disruption there has ripple effects far beyond Iran itself. Now let's take a look at footage released by the US military of missiles being launched to strike Iran. Within hours of the first explosions from these sites, satellite monitoring accounts began flagging multiple heat signatures and blast patterns consistent with precision airstrikes on hardened military targets. And one of the locations reportedly hit was particularly symbolic. Facilities linked to Iranian state broadcasting and command infrastructure. If confirmed, that would represent a major escalation, because targeting communications hubs can disrupt military coordination and national messaging at the same time. Regional seismic monitors and open source intelligence trackers reported multiple large explosions occurring almost simultaneously across different areas of western Iran. That pattern strongly suggests a coordinated strike package rather than isolated attacks. Several aviation trackers also noted U.S. strategic bomber activity in the region shortly before the strikes occurred. Those aircraft are capable of carrying extremely heavy precision-guided munitions, designed specifically for hardened military targets. And some of the footage circulating online appears to show massive underground detonations, suggesting that subterranean missile storage facilities may have also been targeted. That matters because Iran relies heavily on underground infrastructure to protect its missile programs from airstrikes. These facilities are often buried inside mountains or reinforced bunkers. If those sites were actually hit successfully, that would represent a major operational achievement for the attacking force that American and Israeli forces are touting. The response from Tehran has been cautious but revealing. Iranian officials acknowledged explosions in several provinces but described them as limited incidents. State media emphasized that air defense systems were active and claimed that many incoming threats were intercepted. But messaging like that is often used while authorities are still assessing the scale of the damage. In the past, Iranian leadership has sometimes taken hours or even days before fully acknowledging major military losses, which means the true impact of the strikes may not be clear yet. But with Iran's new president taking over, Mohammad Khamenei, shockwaves are still rattling through the previous leadership that saw waves of potential backups being wiped out by American strikes. There are also signs that Iranian-aligned militia groups across the Middle East have raised alert levels. Several regional monitoring channels reported heightened activity among groups operating in Iraq and Syria. That reaction suggests these organizations may believe the strikes are part of a broader campaign rather than a single retaliatory action. And if those groups begin launching attacks in response, the situation could escalate very quickly. Because proxy conflicts have historically been one of the main ways tensions between Washington and Tehran spill into open confrontation. This operation signals something important. Direct strikes inside Iranian territory were considered an extremely risky escalation. Most previous military exchanges between the United States and Iran occurred through proxies or limited operations outside Iran's borders. But now that the US bombers truly conducted large-scale strikes inside Iranian territory, that changes the calculus. It demonstrates the capability and urge to target critical infrastructure deeper inside Iran than before, and the specific targets reportedly hit suggest a clear objective: degrading Iran's missile storage capacity and its ability to move weapons throughout the region. Let's take a look at a few more unclassified clips of the destruction inflicted against Iran. I can hear the cartoon noise. Footage circulating online appears to show Iranian missile launch platforms and equipment being destroyed, although independent verification is still ongoing. These strikes represent a significant blow to Iran's short and medium-range missile capabilities, but the psychological impact could be just as important as the physical damage. Strategic bomber strikes send a very visible message. They demonstrate reach and precision, and they demonstrate the ability to hit targets that many believed were protected by geography or underground fortifications. Right now, the full scale of the damage remains unclear. Iran's new leadership is still assessing the aftermath. Military analysts are still reviewing satellite data. And the world is waiting to see how Tehran continues to respond from here, as President Trump continues to denounce Iran for their potential reaction. The moment U.S. bombers entered Iranian airspace and began striking targets, the strategic landscape of the Middle East shifted. If Iran retaliates aggressively, the region could move closer to a wider conflict. Either way, what happens so far will shape the balance of power in the Middle East for years to come.